And hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We're coming in just a couple of minutes early as we're about to connect with Amazon Live to have a great conversation with my next guest. I'm excited to welcome Marcia Naomi Berger to our program. She's the author of this book, Marriage Minded. Now, before you all ask me, no, I am not marriage minded. As you all know, I am happily single, but a lot of you out there might be thinking about finding a mate. Maybe you're already in a relationship and you're wondering, is this someone who's thinking about marriage, or is this something that if they're not thinking about marriage, are there things you should take? We're going to talk to Marcia not only about the work she does as a therapist, but also what led her to write the book. She gives some really good examples in here as well. Marcia, I'm glad to have you on with us. I'm going to go ahead and make sure we have our Facebook audience with us, and then we're going to connect with Amazon, okay?
Okay.
All right, so give us just a second here. We're going to go ahead and make sure that Facebook is up and running, and it is. And I'm going to do just one quick tweak. There is that. And then we're going to go ahead and connect with our friends on Amazon Live. If you all do have any questions, if you're joining us on the various platforms, I do have the chat open, so you all can feel free to be able to join us there too. And you're watching Cyrus Webb Presents, now on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Have another great guest that's tuning in for this episode. Before we get into that, though, I want to go through some housekeeping for you guys. If you're new to us here on Amazon Live, if you'll click over here in this corner, there you'll see a follow button. If you're on your desktop or laptop, you can click that to be able to follow us. We have programming here on Amazon Live 7 days a week. That way you can stay connected whenever we go live. If you're joining us on your mobile device, you'll notice the follow button is below. Also, for those who are tuning in on your desktop or laptop, you'll notice below is the book of my next guest. I'm excited to welcome Marcia Naomi Berger to our program. She's a therapist and the author of this book. I'm highlighting it right now in the Amazon carousel. It's called Marriage Minded. The subtitle of the book is an A to Z dating guide for lasting love. And it truly is from A to Z. Some of the letters have a lot of different things that Marcia's able to cover there. We'll talk to Marcia about that and what it's been like for her to see the conversations taking place around the book. Marcia, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here.
Well, look, the pleasure's definitely on mine. I read this book with a lot of interest. Again, Marcia, I'm one of these happily single people. Anyone who dates me is a glutton for punishment. I'm just joking because I'm a person who's definitely in love with being able to have the freedom that I have and to be able to devote the time I want to things like this conversation. But there are people out there. I have audience members who write me all the time asking for, books that I've read that maybe they could be able to look into for, when it comes to dating, or how do you know someone is the right one? This is literally your wheelhouse. This is your work you do as a therapist and as an author. What has it been like for you, Marcia, to see the way that people are responding to Marriage Minded?
Today is actually, today as we are talking, is the first day that the book is out. So the people who have responded to the book, I think some people think it's very clever having an A to Z format. And I think people like its thoroughness, because I have, even though today is the official publication date, I've had a number of people read the book like you ahead of time and give me some feedback in the process while I was developing the book. So I did incorporate different people's ideas in it. And I think, what's outstanding about the book is a combination that it is it's not just my ideas, there's research in it, and it is thorough. It really is A to Z, covering just almost any kind of topic you could imagine that has to do with moving from single to married for people who want that.
Right, for people who want that. And I want to be very clear for our audience out there. And I think this is the great thing about myself. I'm 46 years old, Marcia, and I know my family used to always tell me, you're going to make a great husband. You're going to be great because you're responsible. And now they look at my work life and the way, and they're like, I'm so glad you're not married because it is a lot of work. Do you think that's one of the things? Because Hollywood in particular stresses, all of the prettiness of it, and all of that. Do you think people a lot of times they don't think about the work that's involved in it?
Actually, Cyrus, I have a surprise for you. I don't believe that it's work.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I believe in a good marriage if you choose wisely, and if you learn the skills, how you can communicate, and how you can learn how to express your wants and your needs, and also to hear your partners. It isn't work. It's an investment of energy, but it's the kind of energy that feels good when you're doing it. It doesn't feel, when you say the word work, and a lot of people say that, relationships take work. Okay. To me, no, a good relationship, it is not tedious. It is life and humanity affirming.
That's an interesting way to look at it. Work has always been the term that, well, let me say this, Marcia. I use that term really with anything when it comes to success in your job or whatever. I always think, it takes work. It is not something that just happens. And I've always looked at even my friendships, it is something that definitely have to be nurtured, as you were just saying. It's interesting, though, in the book, when it comes to K, it's interesting. I'm going to start with K. The heading for that particular chapter in Marcia's book is kindness. But also, I want to focus on the second K that you have in this chapter, Marcia, and that is knowing yourself. You write this in the book, and I think this is one of the things that gets a lot of people, and to me, again, where the work comes in here. Hello to you, Tamika. Glad you could join us on the Facebook Live side. You write this in the book, Marcia, knowing yourself. Who am I is something we can ask and answer throughout our lives because the answer keeps changing. While the essential self stays the same, our interests, values, and lifestyle can change over time. Concerning marriage, self-knowledge means recognizing what you can contribute to a relationship and what traits you want or need in a marriage partner. Talk to us about that and how important that is, as you were saying, Marcia, to success in a marriage, knowing first who you are.
I'm not sure what the question is.
Yeah, I'm asking. Talk about the importance of knowing yourself when it comes to looking for a marriage mate, or even if you're thinking about if you're ready to get married.
So I'm saying, what does it mean to know yourself? Is that what you're asking me? Okay, knowing what your values are, what's important to you, what you need in order to feel like you're having a overall happy, fulfilled life, which covers all dimensions. That means emotionally, it means spiritually, it means physically or materially, whatever you need to feel in harmony with your true self.
And for yourself in the work that you're doing, how important has that been for you to talk to when it comes to clients? Because as I mentioned, you're also a therapist. When someone comes with a conflict or with an issue, how important is going back to that knowledge of self and kind of figuring out what may be the issue?
Oh, for sure. So many people come into therapy and maybe because of their upbringing, they may have not learned how to tune into what their true needs are, what their feelings are, and what they need, again, like to feel in harmony with themselves and with their partner. And a lot of I'm using the word work, but to me, my work is a joy. And it's to help people get to the place where they can feel okay being who they really are, and to accept who their partner really is also, which can be very enlightening, because people may not know the real person inside because everybody's so busy trying to behave the way they think they're supposed to.
Do you think also, Marcia, because one of the things that you talk about in the book is what what someone may have seen, what they may have lived through, what their own family life. That's something I'm so glad that you brought up in the book, because a lot of times people judge what a marriage should or shouldn't be like by what they saw growing up. How much have you seen that kind of impact, when it comes to individuals wondering if they are marriage minded, how much their environment and their own upbringing contributes to that?
Oh, tremendously, tremendously. We're all products of our early lives, because we're little, and the parents or whoever is raising us are like the all-knowing, all-powerful person, and it's very easy to bring that into adult life subconsciously, and to still act as though we have to be there doing what we're expected to be, and relating in the way we're allowed to relate, which might be, say, you're not allowed to ever express anger or disappointment. And once you suppress one feeling, just about everything gets suppressed, and you become not such a complete person as you present yourself to the world.
I think that's such a great point. I want to say, for those who are just coming in, either on the Amazon Live side, we welcome you all. Thank you so much for being on with us. I'm excited to welcome Marcia Naomi Berger to our program today. Marcia is a therapist and author, and she's celebrating her brand new book. If you all are joining us live, the book is officially out today. Here it is. It's called Marriage Minded. You all can see it there. And the subtitle of the book is An A to Z Dating Guide for Lasting Love. And I've been talking to Marcia already about not only, of course, what it means when it comes to being able to know what you want in a mate, but also knowing oneself as well. Talk to us about the title of the book, Marcia, Marriage Minded. How did you come up with that for the title?
There was a lot of thought that went into the title. I was going to call it, first I was going to call it something like Marry Me, and I forgot the subtitle, what that was going to be. Another time, there was a title that my married friends, most of them thought was terrific, but the single friends didn't like it so much, so I didn't use that one. And that was Marry Someone Who Can Stand You at Your Worst, because that was a quote from Esther Rayner explaining why she and her husband had this successful marriage for 63 years. And she said something like, the key is to marry someone who can stand you. But my publisher didn't like that title because she thought people would feel like it was a put down, and it really isn't meant as a put down, but people don't get that right away. The point is that none of us is perfect, and we all have our moments. So the idea is that we have to be able to marry, if we want a good marriage, it's just somebody that we really can still accept this person and feel committed to this person, even in those less than perfect times, or when less than perfect qualities get exhibited, because we all have those. Yeah. So how to become marriage minded, we just went back and forth until we came up with a title that we both liked. And I think I liked it so much I thought I came up with it, and I think my editor thought or publisher thought she came up with it. So somehow it was a collaboration, and that was it. And then the A to Z part, well, I just love words, and I don't know, it just popped up to me that it would be fun to write a book where I took every letter of the alphabet and free associate it to qualities or ideas that are really important for a good marriage.
And I love the fact that one letter can have so many things attached to it, Marcia, that can sometimes seem opposed to one another. One example of that is T in the book. T, the two I'm going to focus on here is teamwork and testing. So I want to talk about that. You say this in testing, and I love this. Marriage is one of life's most meaningful events, perhaps its most significant one. If you hope to marry, how do you know whether he's right for you and he's ready to commit? Chemistry matters. So do good character traits, similar values and goals, intellectual compatibility, and enough shared interests. You can do some litmus testing to learn which qualities in a marriage partner you can accept and which one spell another T, and that's trouble. I want to talk about that for a second, because I think, Marcia, a lot of times we do get so enamored with the superficial, right? And that's just, we are visual creatures. It's very easy, when you first see someone to have a certain thought about them, to feel like, oh my goodness, I can see myself with this person. Talk to us about the litmus test. I love that wording there, about when you come to thinking about, is this someone that I could literally spend the rest of my life with? How important is that litmus test?
How important is it? It isn't probably just one test. It's getting to know somebody over time, but you look for the red flags and you look for the areas of compatibility. So most important thing I think is, when you may have that in love flash, the fairy tale idea that, or the romantic comedy where you see each other and instantly love at first sight, and those are the marriages that typically. Once in a while, sometimes they work out, but most of the times they do not, because who knows what was it? Does this person remind you of somebody or look like a movie star that you like? But what we're really testing for more is noticing, does this person have the kind of character traits and value and enough interests that are compatible with mine, yours.
And that leads me to the other T that I mentioned there, Marcia, and that is teamwork. You say this about that. Teamwork can take time to develop as you learn about each other's strengths and preferences. A typical area for teamwork can be where one cooks and the other cleans up and washes dishes. Or one person might do all that and the other does the shopping, yard work, or the chores. There's no rule for who does what. Each couple figures out what works best for the two of them. And I thought the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because, again, that goes to another thing, another letter, and that's C, communication. And we find that in the world we live in today, Marcia, and I'm sure you see it in your work as a therapist. Communication is a challenge. Another C word. So, how important is communication, though? Even before we get to the place of thinking about marriage, of just being able to know who it is that you're interested in?
Just being able to communicate at what stage?
Yes.
Even before you're dating?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, because you want to put your true self out there, not some image, or not try to fit into some mold that somebody else might be trying to create for you. You want to come across with your authentic self, and it doesn't mean you have to. Part of communicating is really know what to say and what to withhold also. So that's a kind of a delicate balance, so that you're presenting yourself truly without necessarily announcing anything that might be negative about yourself, and unless it's in a kind of a light way. So I say in the book also, there's a S's for secrets, and so knowing what to reveal and what to conceal is very important. And when you're first getting to know somebody, it should be pretty light and fun. And in fact, the word fun is a big one. When you're on a first date, you might want to ask the person, what do you do for fun?
Okay. Deborah, we see you there on the Facebook side. Deborah says great communication is everything. Deborah, I have to agree with you there. And I think too, it is one of those things, even as you talk about in the book, and I should say there's a great balance here that Marcia goes through of talking about the things that looking at, like she mentioned earlier, looking for those signs, but also the focus on self. Marcia, let's talk briefly about some of the examples that you share in the book, because you do have those in here. What was it like for you to show real life examples of this, of how couples are able to make it through the challenges and be able to move forward and show that they're not only marriage minded, but they are in it to make their marriage a success?
And what are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you, what was it like for you to include the examples that you share in the book?
What was it like? Oh, yeah. I think people really like examples, and because I think it would be unusual if anybody could not relate to at least one or two examples in the book. I certainly relate to many of them, and the people who described, they're real people, and this is life. So it's not just theory; it's what actually happens. And what can happen.
So what is your hope then, Marcia, for people who may be picking up this book or hearing this conversation in different stages of where they are? Maybe they're thinking about dating, looking for a mate. maybe they're already dating, and maybe they're even already married. When someone picks up Marriage Minded, what do you hope it does for them, regardless of where they are?
I hope that it gives them confidence that if they want to get married, they can overcome whatever obstacles might be in their way, and they can date successfully, get to the point of commitment, and create a wonderful marriage.
Love that. Love that. The book is available both in print as well as a Kindle edition published by one of my favorite publishers, She Writes Press. We have them tagged on social media here. They always give us some great books, and this is another great one. Again, the title is Marriage Minded. Our guest for this segment is Marcia Naomi Berger. We've been talking with her not only about her own work as a therapist and now author, but also what it's been like for her to share these great tips. Again, the subtitle of the book is An A to Z Dating Guide for Lasting Love. Again, you can get your copy there on Amazon.com. Marcia, how can they stay connected with you?
Oh, well, you can go to my website, which is Marriage Meetings with an S on meetings, marriagemeetings.com. And if you want to sign up for my free monthly newsletter, you can do that on the homepage there. And also learn about my other book, which helps people keep marriages thriving.
Okay. Well, Marcia, this has been great. Congratulations. So happy Pub Day for those who are watching us live here on Amazon Live. We appreciate you being with us on the big day and looking forward to our upcoming conversation on Conversations Live, the radio show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed being here.
Oh, pleasure's definitely all mine as well. You're going to make me rethink my use of the word work, Marcia. I still think it's work, but you're going to make me rethink the way I look, the way I use that word. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.